The instant I spotted my death notice, I understood something had gone terribly wrong, not printed in any newspaper, not posted as some heartbreaking Facebook memorial, but displayed on my husband's mobile device. The document was fabricated. Naturally, just some shoddy forged proof of death buried within his email correspondence with his attorney, titled Ray Urgent Property Transfer Completion. After reading it once, then again, my heartbeat pounded so loudly in my head, I nearly overlooked the word best written below. I'm grateful you're fast-tracking this matter. With my spouse now dead, the property is free and clear, allowing use to move forward as scheduled. Dead, I hadn't been in a vehicle crash, hadn't vanished without a trace how. I wasn't even in hiding. I had simply stepped away following our most recent argument, seeking distance and mental clarity. Yet in his mind, I was deceased enough to begin erasing my existence. I breathed out slowly through clenched teeth, continuing to scroll. The property transfer remained incomplete. He believed the house was registered under his name, but the documentation had gotten stuck somewhere in legal red tape. This meant he had brought his lover into a residence that remained legally mine. I felt the corners of my mouth twist into a gradual, joyless grin. I placed his phone back precisely where I had discovered it on her bedside table, right beside her fragrance collection, her ring box, and a wrinkled motel receipt marked cash payment only. When I departed from that residence 3 months prior, I believed I was leaving behind a failed marriage. As it turns out, I was actually walking away from an ongoing criminal act. And the most satisfying part? He remained completely unaware of my return. I didn't return to my hotel that evening, didn't even exit the area. Instead, I parked my vehicle 3 houses away, switched off the engine, and observed as the front room lights came on. Silhouettes moved beyond the window coverings, his tall and broad, hers petite with graceful curves and flowing hair. They were laughing carelessly as if they weren't residing in a home constructed on deception, lies, and a very much breathing. Wife's fury. I drummed my fingers on the steering wheel, contemplating and strategizing. He assumed I was dead on official documents, which meant he had signed paperwork, submitted forms, and committed perjury under oath. That my beloved spouse constituted felony charges, but the judicial approach would be too lengthy, too proper. No, this situation demanded something more intimate. My gaze returned to the house, my house. 3 months ago, I had left it cozy and lived in. Now it appeared artificial, like those fake display homes featured on home improvement shows before. They demolish everything. She had eliminated all traces of me, my furnishings removed, my literature replaced with some pastel-colored garbage. Even the walls had been repainted in a gentle, feminine tan, the type of shade that suggests I lack personality, but I'm also inoffensive. The ultimate offense was a new doormat, not just any mat, but one declaring the future Mr. and Mrs. Thompson. I released a slow, harsh exhale, rotating my neck until the stress cracked out of it. Very well, let the games begin. I spent the following day placing calls attorneys, real estate agents, a locksmith I used to babysit for in high school who still owed me a favor. Then I retrieved the backup deed I had stored in my rental unit. He felt the house belonged to him. He was mistaken. By midday, the security system was back under my control. The locks were replaced and the utilities were disconnected. By 5 p.m., I had scheduled movers for the next morning. By 7 p.m., I was at a home improvement store, paying cash for 48 gallons of industrial paint stripper. By midnight, I was standing in my driveway, watching my husband's vehicle depart. For his romantic weekend escape with his new fiancée, he believed he was leaving his home behind. By his return, he would discover a crime scene. I waited precisely 1 hour after their departure before executing my plan. The street was silent. filled with that unsettling suburban quiet where nothing ever occurs until it does. I inserted my new key into the lock, turned it, and entered. The atmosphere smelled different. Gone was the fragrance of my lavender candles, my morning brew, the subtle traces of my cologne. Now it reeked of her cheap vanilla mixed with whatever costly nonsense she bathed in the kind of artificial sweetness that adhered to everything like an unwashable stain. I moved through my house like a visitor. Her footwear by the entrance, her handbag on the kitchen counter, her ridiculous decorative cushions scattered across my leather sofa, the same one my husband once claimed was too costly when I desired it, but now it was suitable for his new existence. I didn't disturb anything initially. I simply observed, memorized, and then began eliminating every trace of them. The bedroom came first. I stripped their bedding in one aggressive motion, cramming it into trash bags. Her jewelry, her skincare products, her wedding gown hanging smugly in my closet, all of it removed. I didn't discard anything yet, though, because what's superior to destroying someone's world? Making them witness it collapse in real time, the kitchen followed. Dishes remained in the sink. A wine bottle sat on the counter with 2 glasses nearby, one bearing her lipstick mark. I took everything, every dish, every utensil, every single spoon into bags and out the door. The bathroom received the same treatment. Her expensive hair products, her silk bathrobe, her feminine supplies in my cabinet, all gone. By the time I finished, the house was completely stripped of her presence. Then the real entertainment began. I grabbed a paint roller, dipped it in black paint, and with slow, intentional strokes, covered every wall she had repainted. The beige disappeared, along with the soft, safe pastel fantasy she had created inside my home. Next, I took the largest container of paint remover and poured it across the living room floor, expensive hardwood, the type we had spent months selecting. Together, it bubbled and warped. The fumes burned my throat, but I continued because when he returned, he wouldn't just find an empty house, he'd find the shell of what used to be his life. A cemetery for the future he thought he had stolen. For me, I stood in the destruction of my home, hands on my hips, admiring my handiwork. The living room was ruined. The paint remover had accomplished its purpose, eating through the hardwood like acid, leaving warped, bubbling sections where the floor once gleamed. The walls were black as midnight, erasing every pastel trace of her existence. The bedroom was stripped bare, not a single item of hers remained, but I wasn't finished yet. I grabbed my phone and reviewed my checklist. There were 3 more tasks I needed to complete before my husband and his mistress returned from their little getaway, expecting to find their cozy stolen life. I dialed the bank, my voice sickeningly sweet. "Hello, I need to report an attempted fraudulent transfer on my property." A pause. "I'm sorry, ma'am, can you clarify?" "Oh, certainly," I purred. "It appears someone, my husband, specifically tried to claim ownership of my house using a forged death certificate." The silence stretched. "Ma'am, are you saying you're alive?" "Oh, I am very much alive, and I'd like to file charges." The representative stumbled through legal jargon, clearly shaken. I let her stammer while I twirled my old wedding ring between my fingers. By the time I hung up, my husband's dreams of owning my house were officially destroyed. I located their online wedding registry within seconds. The page was nauseating, some cutesy biography about finding love after tragedy, as if I were a sad footnote in their perfect romance. I scrolled through their gifts, luxury linens, expensive cookware, a $500 espresso machine, before clicking the tiny, beautiful cancel order button on every single item. Refunded, revoked, and the best part, I used his email to do it. Every canceled order sent a notification directly to his phone. Let them wonder, let them panic. I went outside. The air was crisp, the moon casting a pale glow over my driveway. It was almost poetic, the calm before the storm. And then I did it. I pulled out red spray paint and with slow, deliberate strokes wrote one word across the garage door: mine. Large, bold, unmistakable. Let them arrive after their romantic getaway, luggage in hand, ready to begin their new life together, only to find the ruins of their fantasy greeting them. By the time I finished, the night was deep and still. I took one final look at my masterpiece, then got in my car and drove away. I didn't need to witness their return. The house would communicate everything for me. Was barely 5 minutes away when my phone illuminated with the first call. Him. I let it ring, then another and another. By the fourth, I smiled and answered. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" I said, my voice dripping with venom. Silence. A thick, stunned silence. I could hear his car's engine in the background. Could imagine him gripping the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles were white. His voice cracked. "You're alive," I finished for him. "Oh, honey, you didn't know?" A sharp intake of breath. A rustling sound, probably her whispering in the passenger seat. Panic thick in her voice. "What do we do? What's happening?" I leaned back against the headrest, stretching my legs as if I had all the time in the world. "You know, it's amusing," I continued, voice light. "I was going to let you keep playing house in my home, but then I discovered your little email." "What was it again?" "With my wife deceased, the house is now unencumbered." I released a soft chuckle. "You really should have verified the paperwork, babe." "I can explain." I could hear the desperation now, the way his voice trembled, how his breathing became too rapid, too sharp. "Explain?" I said, feigning curiosity. "Oh, please, this should be good. Explain how you tried to erase me. Explain how you moved your mistress into my house while I was away. Explain how you thought you could sell the place right from under me. You left," he snapped, his voice breaking apart. "You disappeared, you didn't answer, you didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to check in after you accused me of being a burden? After you said you needed space? After you called me a what? Was it dead weight you couldn't carry anymore?" Dead weight. A bitter laugh escaped my throat. The irony, dead weight, and yet he was the one who tried to bury me. I heard a choke sound from his girlfriend. She must have finally seen it, the garage door, the destroyed floors, the blackened walls. She began, but I interrupted her. "Oh, don't act surprised, sweetheart. You chose this. You entered my house, wore my husband's shirts, slept in my bed like you belonged there." My voice dropped low and steady. "So tell me, does it still feel like home?" Her breath caught. I imagine them now, standing in the ruins, her clutching his arm, him staring in horror at what used to be his kingdom. The house was still standing, but everything inside was unrecognizable, just like our marriage. He exhaled a shuddering, furious sound. "What the hell do you want?" I smiled. "Oh, nothing." I let the silence stretch, waiting, letting the dread sink in deep. Then I whispered, "Enjoy your weekend, babe," and hung up. I sat in my car outside a diner, stirring a cup of coffee that had long gone cold. My phone still buzzed against the table hem again. 12 missed calls, 3 voicemails, a dozen frantic texts, each more desperate than the last. "What did you do?" "We need to talk. Come back now." "You can't just..." But I could. I turned the phone face down, watching the rain streak against the windshield. I could picture them right now, standing in the ruins of their perfect fantasy, unraveling by the second. Her shrieking about the garage door, about the gutted house, about the disaster she walked into instead of a home. Him scrambling to fix it, to contain the damage, to figure out how he was going to explain any of this. But this wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was about ensuring he never forgot what he did to me. I picked up my phone and typed a single message. "I'd check the mailbox if I were you." Then I turned it off and waited. 20 minutes later, a new number called. I didn't answer, but I knew exactly what had happened because inside that mailbox, I had left a copy of the original property deed in my name, dated before our marriage, never altered, never transferred, meaning he had never owned the house, not for a single second. He had spent the last 3 months playing king in a castle that was never his. I imagined him standing there, hands shaking, realization crashing down on him, that sick sinking. Feeling when a man realizes he never had power to begin with. And as for her, she came into this thinking she was getting a dream life, a house, a husband, a fresh new start. What she got instead was a man who just lost everything. I smiled, stretching my arms over my head, exhaling slowly. I could stop here, but why quit when I was just getting started? The moment I turned my phone back on, the texts poured in like a flood, not just from him, but from her. His little princess had finally found her voice, and oh, she was furious. You crazy bitch. Do you know what you've done? You ruined everything. You need to fix this right now. I let out a soft chuckle, scrolling through the rage-fueled hysteria, imagining her standing in my no, not my anymore standing in her new nightmare, makeup streaked from crying, hands shaking as she pounded out text after text, realizing that she had bet on the wrong man. Because now he had nothing left to give her, no house, no future, no security. And the best part? I wasn't done yet. I took my time getting back to the house, no rush. I wanted them to sit in the wreckage a little longer, let it soak in. Tayo. The time I pulled into the driveway, he was already outside, waving. The moment he saw me, he stormed forward. What the hell is wrong with you? I stepped out, stretching like I'd just woken up from the best sleep of my life. Nice to see you too, sweetheart. He was shaking, actually shaking. Do you have any idea what you've done? He seethed. I was this close to closing. On the sale. Do you even understand how much money you just... Oh, I understand perfectly. I tilted my head. You tried to sell my house using my forged death certificate while living with your mistress in a home you never even owned. I took a slow step forward, watching him flinch. Tell me, babe. My voice was softer now, almost kind. When exactly were you going to let me know I was dead? His jaw tightened, his hands curled into fists. He wanted to say something, to fight back, to grab hold of whatever power he still thought he had. But there was nothing left for him to hold on to Dot, and then the door swung open. Ifsari standing. In the doorway, arms crossed, wearing his hoodie like some wounded little victim, eyes wild with panic. You need to fix this, she hissed at him, ignoring me completely. You said this was our house. You said we'd be safe. I smiled. Oh, honey. I took another step forward, dropping my voice to a near whisper. Did he tell you the bank's already flagged the fraud? They're launching an investigation? She paled, turned back to him, watching as his face twisted in sheer, unfiltered fear. You might want to lawyer up, I murmured, brushing past him, heading straight for the mailbox. I popped it open, pulled out the final mail in his coffin, and held it up a letter, stamped and sealed. From the district attorney's office, his. Breath hitched. I grinned. See you in court, babe. I let the letter dangle between my fingers, watching the color drain from his face. He knew what it was. He knew. Fraud, forgery, a criminal investigation with his name stamped all over it. His breathing hitched, his whole body tense like he wanted to grab it from me, to make it disappear. But he couldn't mouth this time. You can't do this, he whispered, voice hollow. I let out a soft, humorless laugh. Oh, baby. I took a slow step forward, lowering my voice to something sharp and cutting. I didn't do this. You did. And then I watched it happen, the exact moment he realized he had lost everything. His house gone. His reputation shattered. His mistress, I turned my head slightly, just enough to see her standing in the doorway, eyes darting between us. Slowly backing away like a rat trying to abandon a sinking ship. I smirked. Better get your girl, babe, I murmured. She looks like she's thinking about running. His jaw clenched, his hands flexed at his sides, but he didn't move, because he knew there was nothing left to fight for. I reached into my pocket, pulled out one last thing, and tossed it onto the driveway at his feet, his wedding ring. The one he took off the second he thought I was gone for good. For a second, neither of them moved. The air was thick with the stench of burnt dreams and bad decisions. Then, without another word, I turned, walked down the driveway, and slid into my car. I didn't look back, not when I heard him curse under his breath, not when I heard her start to cry, not when I pulled away from the house, leaving. Them standing in the ruins of the future they thought they stole from me because I had won, and they had to live with what they did forever.